I wanted to start experimenting with the landscape mode in Unreal Engine to gain a unique and interesting environment rather than just flat plains. This is especially relevant as Nottingham Castle is built on top of a hill with a cliffside. So I first switched out of the selection mode to landscape mode, and then selected the sculpt tool. This tool raised the ground and allowed me to start creating my hill. I then used the flatten tool to keep the ground on the inside of the castle level. I then raised my castle and my other elements to be higher so I can keep raising my hill. I kept playing around with the tool strength and radius so that I could get used to the values and effect that they have. After gaining my desired height using the sculpt and erosion tool, I again flattened the surface inside the castle. The surface was very odd, separated by the outline of the radius of the sculpt tool, so I selected the smooth tool to smooth it out and keep that natural look. I then selected all the meshes for the castle and pressed the end key to have them all snap to the floor. After this, I went back to the landscape mode to use the flatten tool so that I could go over the inside of the castle again, making sure that all the inside is flat. I then went over any meshes that incorrectly snapped and returned them to their original position, for example, the sheriff's office. For the remainder, I used the smooth, flatten and sculpt tool to make the landscape suit how I liked. Afterwards, I realised that in the game, if the player looks up, they can see the arrow sprite for the minimap. Therefore, I went into the player character blueprint, selected the sprite, and enabled the visible in scene capture only option. I also had to insert a do once into the event graph so that the player could not infinitely wall jump. So once the wall slide boolean is not set again, by the line trace being disabled, it will reset the do once node to allow wall jumping again.